Larry Elder, why would somebody from our community vote for you, or why should they vote for you? Why should a black person vote for you?
Because I'm telling the truth, and the truth oftentimes is unpleasant. It's not pleasant for me to be called the black face of white supremacy, as the LA Times did. It's not pleasant for me to be accused of being anti-black, as Tavis Smiley once called me, because I don't support reparations. By the way, Barack Obama never supported reparations. Nobody called him anti-black. We need to talk about what's going on. What's going on is the breakdown of the family. And most of the things we complain about downstream, whether it's crime or whether it's bad schools, the genesis is the breakdown of the nuclear intact family, and we don't talk enough about it.
Do you agree that our community is hit harder with a lot of things that you just said, whether it is racism, whether it is getting loans, whether it is getting entrepreneurship, whether it is education, whether it is all those things? You do understand that and agree with that, correct?
I do, but much of it is either self-inflicted or because of policies that we have supported, Democrats that we have supported. I wrote a book called, it's coming out in October, it's called As Goes California, My Mission to Rescue the Golden State and Save the Nation. It's about the one-party rule in California. California has supermajorities of Democrats in the Senate and in the House. And as a result, our schools are near the bottom. People are leaving California for the very first time. We have the highest state income tax in the country. The average price of a home in California costs 175% above the national average, all because of these left-wing policies that are hurting the very people, black and brown people living in the inner city, that people on the left claim that they care about.
Again, people want everyone to be nice, man. You got to be nice. People like Larry, man, just speak the truth. A lot of times, man, people take that as you being mean. The fact of the matter is you're not being mean. You're being honest. You're being truthful. And the fact of the matter is, man, being truthful is not in vogue. What's in vogue is lying to people, but lying to people in such a way to make them feel good. That's what's in vogue right now. We got to make you feel good. We can't offend people. You know, again, we don't know what a man is, what a woman is, man. Again, because nobody wants to be truthful. We all know. Every single one of us knows. But again, nobody wants to speak the truth because, again, they're not being nice.
A lot of people have bloody hands in slavery. Mm-hmm. For example, slavery could not have existed had it not been for African chieftains who were selling black slaves captured in battle or captured through raids and selling them to European and Arab slavers. It could not have existed without that. So everybody has dirty hands here. That's why reparations is such a foolish thing. If you're going to get reparations from the 5% or so of white people that have some sort of generational connection to slavery, and that's all there is, then you need to go back to Africa and get money from African countries that were involved in the slave trade and in the Arab slave trade. And by the way, the Arab slave trade was even worse than the European slave trade. 90% rate of attrition, often making men and women walk on barefoot across the Sahara, and the men were castrated. Only about
okay, so if they go after the money from the other countries, then would you agree that it would be okay to go after the money from America? Is that your problem with it?
When are you going to stop with this? Everybody has a grievance.
I just asked a simple question.
I'm answering your question. There's no end. There'll be no end to this because slavery has been part of human history from the very beginning.
Okay, we'd be getting money. I've let you talk. Sir, I've let you talk. And every time I talk, you begin to talk and then you say, let you finish. So I asked you a very simple question. You said, if you're going to go after it in America, go after it in Africa. So if we all agree to go after it in Africa, will you then agree to go after it in America? It's just a simple question. Yes or no?
No, I won't because it's a waste of time. We ought to be spending our time on education.
Next question.
Okay. You told me that I cut you off. Then I tried to answer your question. You won't let me finish.
Go ahead, Larry.
Thank you. It's a waste of time. We ought to be talking about working hard, investing in ourselves. Right now, as we speak, there are Haitians in Haiti lining up for a lottery to come into this country. Why? Because it is the land of the free and the home of the brave. You can go from nothing to something faster in America than any other country in all of human history.
You know what, guys, man, this girl, she wants people to answer a certain way. And if they don't answer the way that she wants them to answer, she gets upset. You know, she wants a simple yes or no. It's like, well, the answer is no, but let me explain why. Let me talk a little bit. Let me explain what I mean. And again, we have truly got to understand that you don't need to have reparations from the U.S. or Western Africa. Again, in no way. You were never a slave, and nobody alive today was a slave owner, at least in this country. And again, nobody alive today ever rounded up your ancestors in Western Africa. So again, we have truly got to understand that. So, but again, the point that Larry was trying to make is, again, instead of focusing on the past, focus on the present. Again, education. Again, if we want to move forward, if we want to better the Black community, why don't we focus on ourselves? What we can do, we got to change our mindset. Our mindset needs to be changed. We need to realize we can do whatever we want to do. We can become what we want to become. And again, by focusing on the past, by getting angry about the past, again, you're not doing anything for anyone except keeping them in hell. Again, they're never going to accomplish something, or they're not going to do things the way they should if, again, they're trapped in this kind of cloud of anger, of resentment towards people that did nothing to them. But again, man, we have to understand there were things happening in the country in the past, of course, but there's nobody alive today, and we have full equality under the law.
I have no problem with I thought Donald Trump did an extraordinary job as president, especially for Black people. Best economy ever. He did something about the borders. The people that are most hurt because of porous borders are Black people living in the inner city, because most of the illegal aliens have little or no education. They end up living in the inner city. They compete against Black people with high school or less for jobs. Mm-hmm. There are about 1 million fewer Black people working than who would otherwise be working if it weren't for illegal alien labor. And illegal alien labor, according to a study done by the Civil Rights Commission, puts downward pressure to the tune of almost $2,000 per year on the salaries of Black people living in the inner city. And Donald Trump gave us the most secure border we ever had. He also supported school choice. He also did the First Step Act, which allowed about 5,000 mostly Black men with long criminal sentences, nonviolent, to have their sentences reduced an average of 70 months per. He pardoned Jack Johnson, the first Black heavyweight champion. Even Barack Obama didn't do that. Yeah, he did an extraordinary job for Black people.
I think you're innocent until proven guilty, but I feel like President Biden had 4 indictments, 91 criminal charges. President Obama had 4 indictments, 91 criminal charges. Y'all would be telling them that they need to step aside and they shouldn't be running for president.
Well, I wouldn't vote for Barack Obama or for Joe Biden in any case, no matter whether he had indictments or no indictments. I don't vote for tax spend, regulate liberals.
You're a conservative, right? Obviously.
No question.
What initially made you gravitate towards being a conservative?
I think it was my father. My father was a lifelong Republican, and my father always told my brothers and me the following: Democrats want to give you something for nothing. When you try and get something for nothing, you almost always end up getting nothing for something. And my dad, I told you about his background. He told my brothers and me that hard work wins. You get out of life what you put into it. You cannot control the outcome, Larry, but you are 100% in control of the effort. And before you moan or groan about what somebody did or said to you, go to the nearest mirror, look at it, and ask yourself, what could I have done to change the outcome? And finally, Charlemagne, my dad, told my brothers and me this: no matter how hard you work, how good you are, sooner or later, bad stuff is going to happen to you. How you deal with those bad things will tell your mother and me if we raised a man. I wrote a book about my father's life. It's called Dear Father, Dear Son, 2 Lives, 8 Hours. It's about an 8-hour conversation he and I had, where at the beginning of the conversation, I thought my dad was harsh. I thought he spanked us too often. We had a belt. In those days, from the South, you spank kids. And I thought my dad was way too harsh. And we had an 8-hour conversation, and by the time we ended, my dad got bigger and bigger and bigger, and Larry Elder got smaller and smaller and smaller, and I apologized to him. And it's a book that's changed a lot of people's lives. It's called, as I said, Dear Father, Dear Son, 2 Lives, 8 Hours. The paperback is called A Lot Like Me. Same book, but it's cheaper.
Can you honor?
I like what your father said, man. I do. And I agree with that. I really agree with that, because, again, kind of like that old Outkast song, man, I get Miss Jackson. You can plan a picnic, but you can't control the weather. And that's true. We can't. We can control what we bring to it. And that's it. That's all we can do. So the fact of the matter is, man, you can blame whatever you want to blame. But again, it does no good. It does no good. It really, what you're doing by blaming other people is you're actually giving away your power, and you don't even realize it, man. You're telling yourself, you know what, man, I can't do it anyways, man. I can't do it anyways because the forces outside of me are too strong. They're too strong. And the fact of the matter is that they're a lot of times they're not. But again, man, you are being indoctrinated with a certain mindset that you can't do something. You can't do it. again, that's really kind of a disservice to people. It really is, man. So I love the way his father said things. And also, man, again, it also depends on how you handle the outcome.
Mr. Elder, I know a lot of Black conservatives, and I completely agree about the Black family. I don't think anybody here objects to that.
Don't disagree about that at all.
I think when you talk about ideology and then you mix in parties and then personalities, it gets kind of confusing. And, you mentioned yourself not to moan and groan, that as long as you work hard, all is well. And I think where the conflict is coming in is you did moan and groan about how the Republicans treated you. You did moan and groan about Governor Newsom and, asking for a recall. You did not leave that up to the voters. You are moaning and groaning when it comes to Donald Trump and how he's being treated. So it just seems to be a hypocrisy. And I don't know if the message would land a little bit better if there was some fairness across the board on Democrats and Republicans. I'm an independent, by the way, and I think both parties are trash. And I think all of us here, see both sides. And that's the part that's just not landing for me. There seems to be an unfairness on both sides with you.
Well, not too surprisingly, I don't agree with your analysis. How is it that I did not leave the recall to the voters? What do you mean by that?
What do you?
You said I didn't leave the recall to the voters.
No. I said you moaned and groaned about it. You said it should be recalled, correct? Correct?
I said Gavin Newsom should have been recalled, yes.
Right, that's moaning and groaning.
Well, actually, it's taking advantage of what's in the California Constitution, which is when a certain percentage of voters sign a petition to recall a politician, there can be a recall vote, and there was one, as there was in 2003. We recalled the governor then, and there was in 2021 when I attempted to recall Gavin Newsom. That's part of our democratic process in California.
Absolutely. We agree with that. I'm going to your statement when you said rather than moan about it. A little while ago, you said rather than moan about it, I'm just going to keep doing the hard work. And so I'm just saying that takes...
Guys, and the thing is that people like her, they don't understand there's a difference between talking about something, hey, there's a problem here, and, bitching and moaning and groaning and getting all upset about something. There's a big difference. And people like her, they don't understand that because all they do is bitch, moan, and groan.
One of the systems of one of the largest cities in America, Baltimore. Freddie Gray died in police custody a few years ago. The mayor was Black. The head of the police department was Black. Number two...
it's not in charge of the system, but go ahead.
Number two person in charge of the police department was Black.
All
the city council, Democrats, majority Black.
Still not in charge of the system.
Wow.
That's a position.
6 officers charged, 3 of them were Black. A judge before whom 2 of the officers tried their case, found him not guilty, was Black.
Still not in charge of the system.
The city intendant of public schools was Black. The county superintendent of public schools was Black. The attorney general at the time, Loretta Lynch, is Black, as was the president of the United States, was Black. And yet...
Still not in charge of the system. So I asked you a simple question, sir.
Well, Wanda Sykes said when Barack Obama got elected, how are you going to complain about the man when you are the man? Now, from the president to the attorney general to the state attorney to the mayor to the head of the police department to the commissions of the schools in the city and in the county to the majority of city council in that city, all of them are Black. And you're still saying that we don't run anything?
So who's in charge of the system?
No. I said who created the system. I didn't say we didn't run anything. I challenged a lot of those Black leaders, by the way. I said when we talk about the system, what Black people have been in charge of any system. I'm not talking about a position. I'm not talking about a mayor. You know good well.
Man, I can't believe anyone would listen to this girl. I mean, I can't believe anyone would, man, because again, this girl is so full of shit. She truly is, man. Again, what system? Well, again, if you're a Black president, a Black mayor of that city of Baltimore, you have a Black police chief, you have a Black judge, you have a Black president of the United States at the time, you have a Black attorney general. Again, what else do you want? What else do you want? But you're still not in charge of the system. How? In what way? The president of the free world, the president of the country was Black. But again, man, you're in charge. Wow. I mean, well, we didn't create the system. We didn't create it. Well, guess what? Go create one then. Go make one. And take everyone with the same mindset as you with you. Go make one. I'm not talking about Black people. I'm talking about people with that mindset. If you share it, go with her. Go make one. But again, the fact of the matter is, Barack Obama, he was, instrumental in changing the system. I mean, again, everyone that's in politics, everyone that votes changes the system. Everything is constantly being changed. Everything. So again, man, don't give us this bullshit, man. Don't give us this bullshit. Thing is, man, people like you will be the absolute downfall of this country.
I know you probably got to go. Have you ever heard of the term nigga wake up call?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Oh, brother.
I'm just asking. You think you've ever had
Well, I'm acutely aware, Charlamagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that.
I'm not gonna say it upset me, just like I'm not letting you upset me. You know what I mean? I don't tend to get upset over things like that. But what I did say,
well, you just not talk about a nigger wake-up call, and it seemed to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part to have a white guy come in here who also said, by the way, about Mitt Romney. Because he didn't want to put more regulations on Wall Street, going to put y'all back in chains. And Joe Biden has lied for decades about his civil rights record, claiming that he desegregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, Delaware, when he didn't do any of that. He lied and said that he tried to visit Nelson Mandela during apartheid South Africa. He did not. And he came in here and told you aren't even black and let you think a certain kind of way. It seemed to me that should have been a nigga wake-up call for you, but it wasn't, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, no, for the record, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
I didn't say you were.
I think both.
I don't know what you are. I never even asked you about your party affiliation. Yeah, I'm just saying, but you are black. And to have a white guy come in here and tell you have to think a certain kind of way, otherwise you, quote, ain't black. Wow.
How should I have replied to him, you think?
What I just now said, how dare you insult me and tell me I think as a human being, let alone as a black person? I don't tell you how to think, Joe Biden. How dare you come in here and tell me how I should think? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump if I want to vote for Donald Trump. And if I want to vote for Donald Trump, it does not make me not black. 20% of black people, black men, as I said, voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Are they not black now? So only 80% of black men walking around are really black, 20% are not because they voted for Donald Trump? How insulting is that? How condescending is that?
Unless you vote for me, you ain't black. You ain't black. And again, we have got to understand the put down that is. Again, some old white guys telling you that you ain't the color that you are because you're not voting for Democrats. Really? I mean, come on. Come on. Could you imagine, man, if Donald Trump did something similar? Man, again, people would be up in arms about that. They'd be all upset. I mean, and again, I can't blame them. But again, nobody is for Joe Biden. Nobody. And they don't want to talk about it. They're okay with it. They're not going to let it bother, I'm not telling Charlamagne, man, he should be upset about it. But again, man, you have to realize what they're doing. That's bullying, man. They're bullying you. Again, that's a tactic that bullies use. So again, we have truly got to understand that is what the Democratic Party has reduced themselves to. They have become nothing but bullies. We have to understand that. And again, man, we also have to understand this whole show with Larry Elder right here, man. It's all about them being victims. Again, they're victims of systemic racism, white privilege, man. They're victims of that. When the fact of the matter is, man, the only privilege you have nowadays is black. Again, man, you have black privilege. Man, you can call people racist, man. Again, you can call people racist in situations racist that clearly are not racist. Again, that's not right. That's a bully tactic. But again, man, Joe Biden bullies you and you bully other people. That's really what it is, man. You tell people that you call people racist, you call situations racist, no matter if they are or not. And again, we have to understand majority of them are not. But the thing is, man, it's all about victimhood. It's all about victimhood. But it's funny, the ones claiming to be victims are the ones victimizing other people. But hey guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks. You son of a